Back when I worked the night shift at a supermarket called Fresh Harvest, in a sleepy little town in Oregon, I thought I'd seen it all. It was the biggest store around, and my job was simple. From 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., I'd restock shelves, organize inventory, and get everything ready for the morning rush. Me and one other guy, usually Jacque or Miguel, would handle it together. I had the keys to lock up after hours, so it was just us. The quiet and the flickering fluorescent lights. That night, I was supposed to work with Jacque. I got there right on time, let myself in through the back, where all the unstocked boxes were piled up. I grabbed the pallet jack, hauled out a load of cereal boxes to the main floor, and started shelving, rotating the older stuff to the front, sliding the new boxes in back. Halfway through the cereal aisle, I realized something. Jake wasn't there, no sign of him. I figured he was running late, so I headed to the back room, where we'd stash our jackets and phones. Empty. I propped the back door open with a stopper for him and went back to work. 30 minutes later, still no Jake. I wandered back to check again. The room was dark, quiet, but the door, it was shut. The stopper was outside, lying in the dirt, like someone had kicked it out. Weird. I called out, "Jake, you here?" My voice echoed off the concrete walls. Nothing. So I pulled out my phone and dialed him. He picked up, groggy, sounding like I'd just woken him up. "You at work?" I asked. "Nah, man," he mumbled. "I'm sick." Not coming in. A chill crawled up my spine. "Wait," I said. "Someone kicked the door stopper outside." He yawned. "Probably just slipped loose. No one else is scheduled tonight." I hung up, staring at that closed door. I'd wedged that stopper in tight. No way it slipped. I did a quick sweep of the back. No one. Shaking it off, I told myself I was paranoid and went back to shelving. But the whole time, I couldn't shake this feeling. Then it happened. I was kneeling, stacking cornflakes, when a loud bang echoed across the store. I froze. That wasn't a box falling. That was something. I stood up, heart pounding, and stepped into the main aisle, the one that cuts through the whole floor. I peered down it, holding my breath, and there, way at the far end, by the dairy coolers, a man in black walked past. He stopped, turned, and looked at me. My stomach dropped. It was like that scene from a horror movie. You know, where the monster just stares. I tried to think straight. Maybe he was a last-minute replacement for Jake, and the manager forgot to tell me. "Excuse me!" I yelled, my voice bouncing off the walls. I started speed-walking down the aisle, glancing left and right as I passed each row. Then I saw him again, standing at the end of aisle 7, facing me full on. The second he caught my eye, he slipped out of sight, heading back the way I'd come. "Hey, excuse me!" I shouted again, breaking into a run. I still hadn't seen his face. I reached the front, by the registers, and turned toward the cereal aisle. There he was, half hidden behind a shelf, his mouth hanging open like he was grinning. He waved me over, slow and creepy, not saying a word. His face, it was wrong, hollow. I swallowed hard and tried one last time. "Who are you?" He didn't answer, just vanished behind the shelf. I wasn't paid enough for this crap. I bolted outside to my car, yanked out my phone, and called my boss. "There's some weirdo roaming the store," I said, breathless. He groaned. "Get him out if you can, or call the cops." Yeah, right. Me versus some creep? No thanks. I dialed 911 instead, waiting in the driver's seat, eyes locked on the store. A cop showed up fast. I led him inside and we spotted the guy again, standing in aisle 3, just waiting. The officer barked, "Come here," and weirdly, he obeyed. Hands cuffed, he turned to me, grinning this sick, wide smile, licking his lips like a starved animal. His eyes had these huge, dark bags under them. He only spoke once, to the cop. "Just wanted a snack," he rasped. But the way he stared at me, that wasn't hunger for food. It was something else, something threatening. I'll never forget that look. After the cop hauled him off, I finished my shift. Barely. From then on, I never left a single door unlocked. That night stuck with me, etched into my brain like a warning. Some people, they're not just passing through, they're hunting.
Years ago, I decided to turn a job interview into a little escape. It was way out in Montana, too far from home for a quick trip, so I thought, why not make it a mini vacation? Hotels were pricey, so I booked an Airbnb instead. A cozy cabin that cost half as much as anything else I could find. It was about 30 minutes from the interview spot, which was fine by me. The place sat at the end of a lonely dirt road, surrounded by nothing but pine trees and a killer view of the mountains out back. I brought my laptop along to squeeze in some work for my old job during the day. Kept me busy. I stayed for 3 days. The interview was on Tuesday, day 2, and I'd head out Friday morning. Monday night, the day before the big meeting, I was parked in the cabin's tiny living room, laptop open, practicing answers and digging into the company's details. It was around 9 p.m. when I heard it. A soft tap on the window. Not a full knock, more like a fingertip brushing the glass. I whipped my head around, staring into the pitch-black night outside. Nothing. My pulse kicked up, but I manned up, walked over and peeked out. Just darkness stretching into the trees. Probably a moth or something, I muttered. Montana's got some big bugs, after all. Tuesday went well, nailed the interview, felt good about it. The rest of the trip, I explored the nearby town of Elkwood, drove around, hit up a diner, soaked up the sun on the cabin's back porch. But that night, Wednesday, I was inside, binging some show on Netflix when it happened again. A single, sharp tap on the window. No way that was a bug this time. My skin prickled. I jumped up, raced to the window, still nothing out there. But I swear, I felt eyes on me. I checked the front door windows next, all clear. Then I stepped out onto the back porch, peering into the woods. Silence. Darkness. Until a click. Sharp, deliberate, like someone snapping their tongue. It came from way out there, beyond the porch light's reach. "Who's there?" I yelled. Another click answered me, mocking. I squinted harder and saw it. A shadowy figure in dark clothes blending into the night. I took a step forward, then stopped cold. Nope, not getting closer to that. "This is private property," I shouted. "Leave, or I'm calling the cops." The figure turned and bolted, vanishing into the trees. I wondered if it was the Airbnb host, Marcus, but it didn't add up. Who'd sneak around their own place? Shaken, I locked the door and tried to brush it off. Thursday night, I was back in bed, laptop glowing, watching my show again. An hour in, I flicked off the light to sleep. 10 seconds later, a muffled click from inside the closet. The door was cracked open, just an inch. My heart slammed against my ribs. I didn't think twice, grabbed my keys, ran out in my pajamas and jumped in the car. Engine rumbling, I sat in the driveway, staring at the cabin, and dialed 911. Every shadow felt alive. The cops got there fast. One officer, flashlight in hand, checked the place with me. It was small, no hiding spots, empty. Still, I wasn't staying. I packed my stuff and peeled out to a motel down the road. I messaged Airbnb and Marcus about it later, only got a partial refund. To this day, I wonder who it was. The host with a spare key? Some drifter in the woods? No break-in marks, nothing stolen, just a mystery that haunts me.
My wife, Na, and I have been together for a decade, married for 2. Just under a month ago, we bought our dream house in a quiet corner of Tennessee, a little town called Brentwood. I won't say more than that, don't want any trouble. The place came with a big lot, backed by a stretch of woods that caught our eye right away. We pictured adopting a dog, raising kids, giving them space to run wild. We both work similar hours. I'm home by 5, she's back around 6. The first couple of nights were perfect. It was a Saturday and Sunday, so we spent the weekend unpacking, settling in. Monday night, though, that's when it started. We'd gone to bed, lights off for maybe 20 minutes when music blasted from the backyard. Loud, crackling, like it was spilling out of an old speaker. Our neighbors are far enough away that it couldn't have been their yards. This was ours, and it wasn't some party playlist either. Think vintage, scratchy tunes from way back. Anna and I locked eyes, wide awake, freaked out. I slid over to my side of the bed, cracked the window open, the sound sharpened. A melody straight out of the 1930s. Later, I looked it up. Smiles by Vincent Youmans. Cheerful on paper, but right then, pure dread. We were still figuring out the house, but I guess the backyard light switch was downstairs. I bolted down, fumbled with the switches by the back door. One flicked on the outside lamp. I squinted through the glass. Nobody out there. I swung the door open and the music hit harder. Not from the yard, though, from the woods beyond it. The song played out, then silence swallowed everything. Probably some local kids messing with the new folks, I told Anna when I got back upstairs. It sounded weak even to me. Who drags a radio into the trees for a prank? Tuesday night, it happened again. Lights off, a few minutes pass, and bam, music. Louder this time, that creepy Sweet Georgia Brown tune everyone knows. Anna and I stared at each other, not just spooked now, downright rattled. I peeked out the window and saw something on the grass. Not a person, just an object. Anna whispered, "Call the cops." I nodded but said, "Give me a sec. I've got to check this." I wanted to prove, to her, to myself, to whoever was out there, that I wasn't scared. I stepped outside. The music screamed from an old radio, dumped in the yard. I switched it off, held it up toward the window. "Someone left this to freak us out," I yelled to Anna. Her response hit me like a punch. "John, run! There's people behind you!" she screamed. I spun around. 3 shapes stood at the edge of the woods, still, spaced out, staring right at me. My heart stopped. I cursed under my breath, sprinted back inside, and slammed the door shut. Anna was upstairs, sobbing. I grabbed my phone, called 911. The cops showed up quick. We spilled the story, frantic, pointing at the radio I'd tossed on the ground. They took it as evidence, swept their flashlights through the woods. Nothing. No one. After they left, we sat there jumping at every creak, expecting a knock that never came. That was weeks ago. They haven't come back yet. I pray they don't. Next time, I'm filming it.
I've been a nurse for years, hopping between hospitals and clinics. Before my current gig, I worked at a senior care facility in Colorado, a place called Silver Pines, about 40 minutes from my apartment. I'd dealt with elderly patients plenty, so it wasn't new territory. I'd only been there a couple of weeks, and you'll see why I didn't stay longer. This happened on my second to last shift, a graveyard run from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I was running on fumes, barely any sleep, and they stuck me in the Alzheimer's wing. The folks there loved me. I was in my 20s, a fresh face among people who'd otherwise drift in their own heads all day. They'd light up when I walked in, like I was an anchor, tethering them to the present. That night I was juggling a handful of patients, but one stood out. Her name was Ellen. First time I'd worked with her. Every time I stepped into her room, she'd grab my arm, eyes wide. whispering about voices she heard, and a man in black lurking in the corner. Her roommate, a quiet lady who barely spoke, had asked for the curtain between their beds to be drawn before my shift started, probably to tune Ellen out. I'd smile, nod, try to calm her down. She was sweet, just lost in her mind. Most patients were out cold by 11 p.m., but not Ellen. She'd call me in, voice trembling, pointing at that empty corner. "He's there again," she'd say, watching me. It got under my skin. I won't lie. I figured it was all in her head. Scary for her, sure, but not real. Still, I'd hold her hands, tell her, "You're safe, Ellen. I'm right here. Just breathe." It worked for a bit. Last time I checked, she'd finally dozed off. After that, the night dragged. When everyone's asleep, time crawls. Around 1 a.m., I was in the linen room, restocking my cart. Small space, door shut, dead quiet. Then I heard it, a faint rustle. I turned. Nothing. Kept stacking towels. Then, a pressure on my shoulder, heavy, like a hand. I spun around, yelping, hard in my throat. Empty. No one there. But I felt it. Something big, gripping me. I poked my head into the hall. Deserted. No other nurses. No sound. I forced myself to finish, brushing it off as exhaustion playing tricks. Cart full, I turned to leave, and screamed. A man in black stood outside the door, staring through the glass, grinning. My yells woke the whole wing. He vanished before I could blink. The door flew open, and another nurse, Caddy, rushed in, pulling me off the floor. I was a mess. "Did you see him? The man in black?" I gasped. She frowned. "What man? There's no one here." We checked every room. Nothing. But my screams had woken Ellen. She started babbling about voices again, then froze when I asked, "Was he smiling?" Her face sharpened, the clearest I'd seen her all night. "How'd you know?" she whispered. My stomach flipped. Then she screamed, "Get me out! He's coming!" The other nurses swarmed in, calming her down. They swapped me to a different wing that night. I was too shaken to argue. I ended up going home early, still reeling. Next day, I texted the head nurse, Sarah. "Tomorrow's my last shift," I wrote. "That freaked me out too much. I can't stay in that building." She was kind about it, said she understood. I've never had hallucinations, never been diagnosed with anything. Sure, sleep deprivation's rough, but this was next level. That hand on my shoulder, that grinning face matching ALN's story, it's burned into me. One of those rare, unexplainable things. I hope it stays that way.
I was driving home from work one night, taking my usual route through the back roads of Maine. I'd clocked out around midnight, so it was probably 12:15 or so. My town, Pinehurst, is small, quiet, kind of dull. Woods everywhere, not many people, hardly any houses. I was on this stretch near home, a cornfield on one side, dense trees on the other. Mid-July, warm, maybe 70 degrees. My truck's windows were down, the air rushing in as I cruised along at about 50. Then I heard it, a scream. A woman's voice, shrill and blood-curdling, cutting through the night. I couldn't tell which side it came from. I slammed on the brakes, tires screeching, and sat there, listening. Another cry, definitely from the woods on my left. "Help me!" she sobbed. I grabbed the tire iron from the passenger seat, jumped out, and yelled back, "Who's out there?" Her voice hit me again, desperate. "Please, help me!" I ran toward the trees, shoving branches aside, adrenaline pumping. "Keep screaming," I shouted. "I'll find you." Every 10 seconds or so, she'd yell, "Help!" and I'd charge in that direction, hollering back. But after a minute, something felt off. No matter how deep I went, her voice didn't get louder or closer. It stayed the same, like I wasn't gaining ground. I stopped, panting. "Tell me where you are," I called out. 5 seconds later, "Help!" Same distance, same tone. This wasn't right. My gut twisted. Was this a trap? I turned and bolted back toward the road, crashing through the underbrush. Her screams followed me the whole way, never fading, never getting closer, like she was shadowing me. I broke through the trees, saw my truck's headlights blinking in the distance, jumped in, floored it, and peeled out. Was I being hunted? I didn't stick around to find out. Shaking, I called 911 from the road, told them what happened, said they might want to check it out. I wasn't going back though, too wiped, too rattled. I figured I'd put it behind me after telling a few buddies. But a week later, saw something on the news that made my blood run cold. A hiker and his dog found a woman's body in those woods, 30s, dead. No signs of foul play, they said. Same general area where I'd heard her. That forest is huge, sure, but what are the odds? I still hear that scream sometimes, echoing in my head. Coincidence or not, it's with me for good.
Before my girlfriend, Lyle Lee, and I started dating, we were already inseparable. We both love snowboarding, and her family owns a little cabin up in New Hampshire near Mount Cran Moor. This was maybe our 10th hangout when she invited me up for a weekend to hit the slopes together. Our first time boarding as a duo. It's a solid 5-hour drive from home. The last stretch? A winding, snow-dusted road cutting through the mountains. We'd pass the odd driveway every now and then, each one swallowed by walls of evergreens. Barely saw another car. Felt like we were the only souls out there. Leo Lee said most of these places are owned by out-of-staters, like her folks, empty half the year. I was going maybe 30 when she yelled, "Slow down! It's coming up." I hit the brakes and we turned onto this narrow, icy path, 4-wheel drive crunching through the snow. The cabin popped into view, blanketed white, looking like something off a postcard. We parked, hauled our stuff inside, flipped on the heat first thing. It was getting dark, so we stayed in that night. Cooked some pasta we'd brought, watched The Shawshank Redemption on her laptop. The place had everything, electricity, heat, but no running water. They kept jugs for washing up, and the bathroom, an outhouse out back. I just peed off the front deck into the snow that night. It was snowing again, soft and steady. We crashed out halfway through a second movie. Next morning, we were up early, phone alarms blaring. Wanted fresh powder on the mountain. After breakfast, I had to hit the outhouse, threw on my boots, ran out through the cold. Halfway there, I stopped. Footprints in the snow, big ones, fresh. Couldn't tell if they were boots or paws. They looped around the cabin and trailed off into the woods. I called Lily out to see. She shrugged. "Probably a bear. They're all over up here." Made sense. I did my business and we headed to the resort. Ripped it up for 8 hours, grabbed burgers at a diner, then drove back as night fell, snow still coming down. Back at the cabin, we cranked the heat, built a fire, blasted some tunes. A few drinks in, I had to go again. Figured I'd hit the outhouse since I was putting boots on anyway. Ran out into the storm, slammed the door shut to block the wind. Could still hear the music thumping inside. Then, over it, crunching footsteps in the snow right past the outhouse. "Lyle Lee?" I shouted. No answer. The steps faded away. I texted her from my phone, spotty signal up there. "You outside?" Didn't send right away. I waited, finishing up. Then the music cut off. Dead silence, just snow tapping the roof. I stepped out, pitch black now. The cabin lights were gone. Using my phone's flashlight, I spotted fresh tracks leading to the front door, then circling around. I banged on the door. "Lyle Lee!" An arm yanked me inside. It was her. She slammed the door, locked it, whispered fast. "Some guy tried the handle while you were out there. I locked it the second you left. Didn't feel safe alone. It wasn't you at the door." She'd killed the power, hid in the living room. Watched him creep past the window, peering in. I just missed him. She told me about a cellar her dad kept stocked. Rifles and a shotgun down a trap door. I found it in the dark, climbed down with my flashlight, grabbed a gun off the wall. We sat on the couch, lights off, clutching it, afraid to flip a switch and give ourselves away. Nearest neighbors? Miles off, and probably not even here this time of year. Just the snow falling outside. Then, footsteps again. Slow, deliberate. I gripped the gun, marched to the door, flung it open, fired 3 shots into the sky. "Get out!" I roared. The steps stopped. Gone. Echoes faded into the night. Bet they ran off. Her dad told us to leave next morning, said it wasn't worth sticking around. Nothing valuable to steal, just our nerves shot. We packed up, hit the road. At least we got a full day on the mountain. That night, though, it's a story we'll never shake.
My name's Timothy, I'm 25, and I live on my family's farm in Kansas. It's a small operation, just us. Not some big commercial deal. My parents want me to take it over someday since I'm the oldest of 3, the only son. My sisters, Kelly and Bridget, don't care much for it either, but me? I'm itching to leave, especially after what went down last June. Mom and Dad were off on a week-long getaway, leaving the 3 of us to hold down the fort. It's isolated out here, fields and silence for miles. Too quiet, if you ask me. It started late one night, close to bedtime. Kelly was holed up in her room, grinding through online college classes. She takes summer courses. Bridget and I were in the living room, half watching some cheesy reality show. We all dream of ditching this farm life. Me most of all, 25 and stuck in the middle of nowhere. One thing you've got to watch out for out here? Predators. Not just coyotes after the crops, people too, thieves. Rare, but it happens. We keep a couple guns in the house for that reason. That night, our dogs, 2 mutts chained out back, went nuts, barking like something was seriously wrong. I stepped outside to check, saw them straining toward the wheat field, losing their minds. "Quiet!" I snapped. They hushed, but I stood there listening. Then, a whistle, clear, human, floating out of the field. My stomach dropped. First time I'd ever dealt with a trespasser without Dad around. I ran inside, grabbed the shotgun from the hall closet, told my sisters, "Someone's out there in the wheat." They freaked. "Don't go chasing them," Kelly said. "It's pitch black, you'll get lost or worse." Bridget nodded wide-eyed. They were right. Stumbling into that field blind? Terrifying idea. So I switched plans, went back out to the dogs, still barking like crazy, aimed the gun skyward, pulled the trigger. The blast ripped through the night, shutting the dogs up. Feeling bold, I yelled, "Get off our land," figured that'd scare them off. Back inside, my sisters cracked up at my tough guy act. I laughed too, nerves mostly. But the relief didn't last. The dogs started again, louder, wilder. I stepped out, ready to fire another warning shot, and froze. A guy stood there, maybe 20 feet from the dogs, right at the field's edge, staring at me. "Hey!" I shouted. He bolted into the wheat, vanishing in the stalks. I sprinted over, fired into the air again, but stopped short. No way I was chasing him in there. I unhooked the dogs, brought them inside, told my sisters, "Someone's sneaking around out there." We called Dad. "You're the man of the house now," he said. "Protect your sisters. Fire another shot if he comes back." We split up to our rooms after that. Kelly took one dog, Brid get the other. I kept the gun by my bed, still jumpy. Window open, I lay there, watching a movie on my laptop to calm down. Then, another whistle, slow, taunting from outside. I lunged to the window, spotted a figure strolling across the grass. He stopped, turned, looked right up at me, still whistling. This jerk was messing with us, and he picked the wrong night. I snatched the gun, aimed out the window, fired into the dirt a few feet from him, on purpose, just to spook him. That cut his little game short. He ran off toward the front of the house, out of sight. Didn't come back. I told my sisters why I'd shot, swore he was gone for good. We never figured out who it was. Some bored kid looking to scare us? Or someone worse? Either way, it was enough to make me hate this place even more. Kansas can keep its quiet. I'm done.
When I was 19, I worked at a pizza joint in a small Ohio town called Westfield, slinging deliveries to scrape together cash for gas and groceries. Easy gig, take the order, box it up, drive it out. Done it 100 times, no drama. Tips usually landed between $3 and $5, sometimes 10 if they were feeling generous. This one night, I got a small order, pepperoni sub and a plain slice. Smaller runs like that usually meant a lousy tip, but I didn't pick the jobs. I headed out to the address. Turned out to be a dead-end street, more rural than the rest of town. One house had an old camper parked on the lawn, next to a scraggly patch of trees. The others looked like run-down farmhouses, spaced far apart. I pulled up to the place. A squat, odd little house with a huge, messy lot. Next door, what looked like an abandoned shack, grass swallowing it whole. It was around 6 p.m., sky dimming fast. Most folks would have had lights on by now, but this house? Dark. Front door cracked open just a hair. I walked up, bag in hand, and heard it. Piano music. Faint, muffled like it was coming from a back room. Sounded eerie, looping the same few notes. I knocked. No answer. Rang the bell. Nothing. Dead. Piano kept going. Didn't feel right just barging in, so I circled around to the back. The yard was a wreck, junk strewn everywhere. Even a rusted chain-link fence crumpled in the middle. I banged on the back door, peeked through the glass, nothing but a cluttered storage room. No one came. I doubled back to the front, called the shop to double-check the address. "Yeah, Ethan," my coworker said. "That's the one." "All right then." I pushed the front door open, stepped inside. Piano music hit me clearer now, creepy, repetitive. "Pizza's here," I yelled. The playing stopped. "Over here." A voice called from deeper in, then the tune picked up again. No lights on, just shadows. Place smelled musty, stale. I took a few steps, following the sound, but stopped in what I guessed was the entryway. Felt too weird going further. "I'm by the front door," I shouted. Music cut off. Silence. I edged back toward the exit, expecting footsteps. Nothing. "Sir?" I tried again. A voice floated back, slow. "Yes, sorry. I can't walk easy." "Could you bring it in here?" "Which room?" I asked. Pause. "Through the living room. Dining room's right there." No instructions like that on the order. Sketchy as hell. I weighed it. Could be some old guy in a messy house, could be trouble. Didn't want to ditch if he needed help, so I crept through the living room toward an open doorway. I'm paranoid, okay? Didn't just stroll in, peeked around the wall instead, one eye on the dining room. Piano sat there, empty, no one in sight. That was it. I noped out. Backed up fast, shut the door behind me, jumped in my car, and peeled back to the shop. Told my boss. That place gave me bad vibes. He got it, especially when no one called complaining about a ditch delivery. Later that night, I looked up the address, foreclosed, vacant for months. My jaw dropped. Same reaction from the crew when I told them. Few steps more and who knows, robbed, worse? Maybe just a prank, but I wasn't laughing.
Eight years back, me and my buddies, Nate and Ariane, pulled some dumb stunts to kill time. We're not tight with Nate anymore, but Ariane and I still talk. And this story comes up a lot. We were 19, living in a rundown town in Pennsylvania called Harrisville. Place was full of empty houses, and up on a hill off a blocked road sat this old abandoned church. Everyone knew about it. It had been deserted for decades. No idea if it's still standing now. I'm down in Texas these days, but back then we were thrill chasers, and we hatched a genius plan: take a Ouija board up there one night. October, spooky vibes, perfect timing. Ariane had one stashed in his closet, so he grabbed it. I drove, picked up Nady first, then Ann, and we headed straight for the church. The road up was barricaded, so I parked on the shoulder. We hiked up the hill, starting with one flashlight to keep it low-key. Once we hit the top, though, all three beams flicked on. Woods hugged the church on every side, gravel lot crunching underfoot. Place was trashed, graffiti everywhere, front door busted open. Took two of us to shove it wide, scraping across the floor. Inside, we swept our lights around. No one else there. Creepy as hell in the dark. Rian set up the Ouija board on the dusty floor, then pulled out 3 candles from his bag. "For the mood," he said, smirking. Lit them, placed them in a triangle around the board. We killed the flashlights. Only candlelight now. Flickering. Barely reaching 6 feet out. Couldn't see much beyond that. We started messing with the board, on leading. Anyone here? He asked, all dramatic. Typical Ouija stuff. The planchette moved, and we cracked up. Someone was obviously pushing it. Probably Nada. It spelled out random junk, and we played along, laughing. Then a crack, loud, sharp, like wood splitting, came from the altar up front. We all jumped, swung our phone lights over there. Nothing. Just shadows. Place was falling apart, so weird noises weren't shocking. We shrugged it off, kept going, took turns asking dumb questions. But the planchette stopped moving. That crack spooked us enough to take it seriously now. Kept at it anyway, until another sound hit. Before we could even aim our lights, something landed. Smack on the board. A rock. Golf ball sized. We screamed, scrambled up. None of us threw it. Our hands were on the planchette seconds ago. We bolted out of there, yelling, leaving the board and candles behind, ran full speed down the hill to my car, half expecting something chasing us. Piled in, tore off to Natie's place. Sat in the driveway for a good half hour, hearts pounding, piecing it together. Ann's all religious. Swore we tapped into a spirit. Me? I don't buy that. Someone else was in there with us. Way scarier, thought. Next day, Yayan and Nata went back for the board. Freaky part? It was gone. Candles still sat there, untouched. They didn't stick around to investigate, just bailed. Still, the wildest, scariest thing I've ever been through. Ariane and I bring it up every so often, half laughing, half shivering. No idea who or what was up there with us that night.
Me and my wife, Mari, have been together 10 years, married for 2. Just a few weeks back, we bought our first house in a quiet Virginia town called Lenox. Keeping it vague, no need for trouble. Big property, sits right up against a thick patch of woods. That's what sold us. Space for a dog we plan to adopt, kids we want to raise. We work similar shifts. I'm home by 5, she's in around 6. First 2 nights were smooth sailing, weekend move-in, unpacking boxes, making it ours. Third night, Monday, things got weird. We'd hit the sack, lights off maybe 20 minutes when music blared from the backyard. Loud, staticky, like an old record player on full blast. Neighbors are too far to blame. Had to be our land. Not some club banger either. Vintage, crackling stuff. We shot up staring at each other, spooked. I slid to my window, cracked it open. Clearer now. Ain't we got fun from way back? Catchy tune, sure, but at midnight in the dark, terrifying. New house, new layout. We guessed the yard light switch was downstairs. I raced down, flipped every switch by the back door till one worked. Floodlight kicked on, empty yard. Opened the door, and the music swelled. Not from the grass, but the woods behind. Song finished. Silence dropped like a weight. Kids pulling a welcome prank, I told Mari upstairs. Didn't believe it myself. Who hauls a speaker out there for kicks? Next night, same deal. Lights out, few minutes pass, music again, louder. Putting on the Ritz this time, blasting through the quiet. Mari and I locked eyes, past spooked into dread. Hoped it was a one-off, but no. I peeked out. Something on the lawn. Not a person, just a thing. Call the cops, Mari hissed. In a sec, I said, gotta check it. Wanted to prove I wasn't rattled. Not to her, not to whoever was out there. Stepped outside. Old radio sat in the grass, pumping out that tune. I shut it off, held it up. Someone's screwing with us. I yelled to Mari at the window. Then she screamed, high, panicked. Robert, run! People behind you. I whipped around. 3 figures at the wood line, still spaced apart, staring. My heart slammed. I bolted back, slammed the door, locked it tight. Mari was upstairs crying. I dialed 911. Cops got there fast. We blurted it all out, showed them the radio on the ground. They bagged it, swept the woods with flashlights. Nada. After they left, we sat wired, waiting for a knock or worse. Didn't happen. That was recent, a couple weeks ago. Haven't seen them since. God help us if they come back. I'll get it on camera next time.